So today we're going to be doing something really, really fun. And we're going to be using a tool called the Teachable Machine, created by Google, which uses the TensorFlow library. And before we jump into that, we should review the JavaScript course content. And the way I'm going to do that is to demonstrate how powerful it is with this example again. So once again, I'm going to right-click on this page, click on Inspect. And this time, we're going to do something slightly different. So in order for us to apply or run JavaScript here live, what we need to do is we need to click on that console window. So click on console, and this is where you can actually type in live JavaScript and hack this website. And let me grab the code that we're going to use. It's also one of the example codes that we used in the course. So you might recognize what that is. And basically what we're trying to do here is to make parts of this website disappear using JavaScript. All right, so we're going to use this code here, which is document.getElementById. And right now we have a placeholder called main content, and we're going to apply the style display none, and poof, just like that, the portion of the website that has this ID is going to disappear. And let's go back and grab a couple IDs and see if we can get rid of them. So we can go through the code in this element section, and we see that for this big area here right now that's got a little, it's now color bluish, right? That part is actually called home, right? So this section right here is called home, and below that might have a different ID. So we can inspect what that is by clicking on this icon here and then seeing what that is. And yes, this section is called About. And why don't we try getting rid of that whole About section? And very easy to do. All we have to do is replace that code in the console that we typed in. Get element by ID. Instead of main content, we're going to place About in there. And then run. All right, so let's see. Ooh, yes, that just disappeared. And just like that, we can get rid of all the sections. So the first part's called home, right? So if we type in home here, oops, sorry, gotta retype this again. And this time, instead of about, we'll replace it with home. And that will get rid of that home section altogether. And enter, gone. Okay, so yes, JavaScript is super powerful, and it's a way of creating interactions on your website. We did cover this bit yesterday, talking about where AIs are used, and it's pretty much used everywhere in all industries, all across the board, and it's affecting our lives in every aspect. And these AIs are getting smarter, faster. And we've identified that, we have Siri, Alexa, Tesla, the Netflix suggestions, autopilot, the algorithmic trading, and medical image reading. These are all done with AIs, and they do a pretty excellent job. All right, so does anyone know what this is? So it's one of the most challenging tasks given to AIs to figure out if they can discern a blueberry muffin from a chihuahua. And computer scientists have used this to figure out which AI is the smartest. And there's an article that I linked in the course. Read more about it. It tells you, which AIs were actually able to do something close. Yeah, so AIs, basically how it works is you have to feed it training data, and it'll learn patterns across the data. And at some point, it's going to figure out how to learn better, which is the scary part. And you have supervised AIs, you have unsupervised AIs, and the scary ones are the unsupervised ones. And even, the smartest computer scientists cannot figure out how they are learning at this point because they're so advanced. So it's a big black box, and because we don't know how it works, we might not have full control over it. So that's the scary part. All right, next part. So what does that mean for us? You know, if we have less control over what's going on, we can't monitor everything that's going on, and we don't know how it works, and it's everywhere. How will that impact us? And we're just gonna watch this video, just the first 3 minutes of it, because it's very powerful, and I think the way she tells the story, it's, you know, it talks about everything that I wanted to talk about. So let's watch it. All right, same issue as before. I wonder if I can just play this right here. Okay, there we go.
Hello, I'm Joy, a poet of code on a mission to stop an unseen force that's rising, a force that I called the coded gaze, my term for algorithmic bias. Algorithmic bias, like human bias, results in unfairness. However, algorithms like viruses can spread bias on a massive scale at a rapid pace. Algorithmic bias can also lead to exclusionary experiences and discriminatory practices. Let me show you what I mean. Hi, camera. I've got a face. Can you see my face? No glasses face? You can see her face. What about my face? Well, I've got a mask. Can you see my mask? So how did this happen? Why am I sitting in front of a computer in a white mask trying to be detected by a cheap webcam? Well, when I'm not fighting the coded gaze as a poet of code, I'm a graduate student at the MIT Media Lab. And there I have the opportunity to work on all sorts of whimsical projects, including the Aspire Mirror, a project I did so I could project digital masks onto my reflection. So in the morning, if I wanted to feel powerful, I could put on a lion. If I wanted to be uplifted, I might have a quote. So I used generic facial recognition software to build the system, but found that it was really hard to test it unless if I wore a white mask. Unfortunately, I've run into this issue before. When I was an undergraduate at Georgia Tech studying computer science, I used to work on social robots. And one of my tasks was to get a robot to play peekaboo, a simple turn-taking game where partners cover their face and then uncover it saying peekaboo. The problem is peekaboo doesn't really work if I can't see you, and my robot couldn't see me. But I borrowed my roommate's face to get the project done, submitted the assignment, and figured, you know what, somebody else will solve this problem. Not too long after, I was in Hong Kong for an entrepreneurship competition. The organizers decided to take participants on a tour of local startups. One of the startups had a social robot, and they decided to do a demo. The demo worked on everybody until it got to me, and you can probably guess it. It couldn't detect my face. I asked the developers what was going on, and it turned out we had used the same generic facial recognition software. Halfway around the world, I learned that algorithmic bias can travel as quickly as it takes to download some files off of the internet. So what's going on? Why isn't my face being detected?
All right, so that was a very scary video, right? Any thoughts on that? I know there was a mention in the chat window from Ray. Kind of reminds me of when I'm trying to do that CAPTCHA exercise to prove I'm not a robot. Find all frames with bicycles or traffic lights. Yes, that happens a lot, right? Yeah, so, and then there's this article right here. I mentioned this briefly yesterday about how Microsoft created an AI chatbot and trained on Twitter and became a racist asshole in less than a day. So it began with all these like enthusiasm for, you know, humans are super cool, and became a full Nazi in less than 24 hours. So what we feed our machines, our teachable machines, is very, very important. And that data set, we need to make sure that it's inclusive. All right, so let's go back to the slides. And the next one, yeah, so we need to figure out how we can teach AI and how we can make sure that our students recognize where these AIs are residing and what we can do about it and how we become a participant of building this data set. All right, so there are many, many resources out there. The one you see on the left side, AI for Oceans, this is pretty popular on co.org. It's very, very fun to work with. So basically what you're doing is you have different fish that you're gonna put labels on and teach the machine you know, how you feel about that fish. And later on, it's gonna make a prediction of how you will feel about a certain looking fish. And then on the top here, this is Teachable Machine from Google, which we are going to demo and use right after this. And below here, this is the TensorFlow Playground. And I think if you are a little advanced in JavaScript and coding, try this out. It's very, very interesting. It uses neural networks. And let's go on to the next slide. All right, so teaching AI, this 5 pillars have been created by an organization called AI for K12, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. They're computer scientists, educators who came together to create these big ideas on what we should be teaching students in terms of AI. And here's number 1, perception. Computers perceive the world using sensors, right? So they don't immediately understand what's going on. They need to use sensors, and that would include, you know, like seeing, hearing, text, and so on. And number 2, representation and reasoning. Agents maintain representations of the world and use them for reasoning. So basically, this is an algorithm. So, so your AI isn't just, you know, something that's born out of thin air. It's got an algorithm that will drive how it works. So your students will need to understand that. And then number 3, learning. Computers can learn from data, yes. So just by having it exposed, it might not be aware of what's going on. You need to make sure that you feed it in forms that is digestible in data forms. And number 4, natural interaction. Intelligent agents require many kinds of knowledge to interact naturally with humans. So in order for these AIs to interact with humans, it has to be sophisticated. So that's what it means. All right. And number 5, societal impact. This is very important. So AI can have impact on the society in both positive and negative ways. So in positive ways, it can make your work very, very efficient, right? Instead of somebody, you know, going through, you know, vast data, like labeling it one by one, you can have it all done at once very easily. Negative ways, you saw in the videos, you know, if you feed it the wrong data set, or if your algorithm's a little off, you know, it could cause a big disaster, global disaster. All right, so now let's go over to Teachable Machine. And just to give you an overview of how it works, 1, we're gonna gather data using our webcam, and then we're gonna press train model button to train it, very simple. And then it's gonna spit out a code that you can embed right on your website. So it's very simple. All right, so here is an example of a banana. It's called Banana Meter. And what it does is it tells you if your banana is ripe or it's too early or too late. And we're gonna see that in action. All right, so let's go on to that banana machine. So there's a link to this tutorial if you'd like to take a look. Very interesting what this person did. So basically, you categorize it, right? Too early, ripe, too late, no banana. Oh, thank you, Alan, for sharing the link. Yes, so we're gonna jump there in a bit. And then you're gonna train it by recording your banana, right? And then with the right category. So this is a ripe banana. And too late, right? Lots of black parts in there. And then hold to record, and then train it. Then click on that training button and it's done. So then you're gonna hold up a banana and test it. And it'll tell you what category it fits into. Pretty amazing. But the catch is, it does not recognize objects. So all it sees is just flat pixels. We as humans, we recognize objects, right? But all the machine sees is just different colored pixels. And so if you actually put it against a different background, or you were recording training your AI with yourself in it, and then you want to test it without yourself, it's going to get very confused. So in this case, this person, tested it with 2 bananas. The AI got very confused, right? You can see the graph sort of trembling. And then, yes, lighting and background color matters. So it's a good idea to keep your background consistent. And if you actually want other people to use it, you might want to use a white or a single color background. And then let's jump to our teachable machine. Oh, let's see this in action. So let me pull up this website. So this person created this website where we can actually run this, and you'll also be creating this website too. So you're going to be able to host it and share it with the world once you reach that last project. And I don't have a banana at home. I have this tape measure, which is the closest thing to a banana. Sadly, I ran out of fruits. And I hope I can share my camera here. And oh, my computer is slowing down. Okay, next time I'm getting a MacBook Pro, not MacBook Air. Okay, meanwhile that's loading. If you are interested, I can share this link with you. Oh, there we go. So I can see myself now. So try this out yourself if you like to. Let me grab that URL. If you have a banana, awesome. You get to try out the real thing. All right, so right now I am too late. Oh, anyway, so here is the tape measure. And let's put the side where it's just, mostly all yellow. It still marks it as too late. Maybe that's because I'm in the photo. Okay, now it's too early. Okay, if I flip it around with a little more black in there, it's gonna turn to too late. All right, so this is teachable machine, very simple, right? Let me turn this off. Save some CPU power there. All right, and now let's do this together. All right, so Alan in the chat window, share the link to teachablemachine.withgoogle.com. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna train it to recognize a Pepsi versus a Coke, a Diet Pepsi versus a Diet Coke. I don't know what use this has in the world, but maybe some people are curious. And this has nothing to do with the fact that we're called Pop Biz. I just have a lot of soda in my refrigerator. All right, so let's get started. Okay, click on Get Started. All right, so you get to pick 3 types of projects. Is it gonna be based on image? Is it gonna be based on audio or pose? And this time I'll do image. And it gives you 2 classes to begin with. You can create multiple classes. For this one, I'll just create 2. So the first one's gonna be called Pepsi. The second one's gonna be called Coke. And if you'd like to grab anything from your desk or wherever you are and try this out, please do so. So I am now going to hold up my Pepsi. Okay, I'm gonna hide. So the Pepsi is recorded. And I'm gonna turn on the webcam and I'm gonna hold it to record. Okay, I'm just gonna spin it around. I'm holding the button down, right? And this is not the best object because it's reflecting light. All right, so Pepsi is done. It's recorded 140 image samples just now. If you have something in your computer that you would like to upload to teach the AI, you could do that too. But this is a lot easier. So webcam for Coke. All right, I'm gonna hide one more time and then put this up. A little closer maybe this time. All right, webcam, hold to record. Spin it around 360. Maybe it's smart, it'll figure out what it is by looking at the top or the bottom. Okay. So this one also, 141 image samples. And I am ready to train it. So click on that training button. It'll take a few seconds, and make sure your tab is open. If you leave your tab, it's gonna quit training. Oh, it's working, all right. So once this goes up to 50, it's done. And yes, it's giving me that warning, don't switch tabs. Okay, I won't. And off we go. Almost. 3, 2, 1, and preview. Okay. So now we get to test this out. Oh, Alan, yes. Tried two different iPhones. Okay, so here is Coke. Recognized it correctly. Now the label's the difficult part, the nutritional label part. Ooh, still on Coke. And no doubt. All right, looking good. All right, I'm gonna hold up my Pepsi now at the nutritional label. See if that works. Oh yes, almost. Maybe I should hide. Okay. Yes, it's sure that it is Pepsi. Cool, so this is it. That's, you just created your own AI. And what we're gonna do next is we are going to export our model. And you'll see that here you can upload your model, and you wanna do that. Okay, so from this pop-up here, click on Upload My Model. And that is done. So it just took me maybe like 5 seconds to do that. As soon as it got uploaded, I am now given this shareable link, right? So I can copy this and then share with whoever wants to see it. And I can also grab this code snippet in JavaScript form. And if you've gone through the course, you'll probably recognize what this means. So here, you know, we have a teachable machine in text. There's a button that, you know, will call on this initialize function when you click on it. And it also is making, it's pulling the CDN file from this location for JavaScript. And then, yeah, there's all this going on. And you probably could make sense out of it. All right, so next, we're going to create our web page. And we're going to do that on PopViz. Let me try to, okay, so those of you who went in this morning might have noticed that there's a share tab. This is new. So if you click on share, and then this should say something different. I think it says create a link. Click on that, and then you're going to get a share link, which you can share with the world. And if you want to update your share link content, just click on that update portfolio, and then that'll be taken care of for you. All right, so I'm going to grab this code here, click on that copy, and then go to my index.html, and you know how to begin the code here, right? We begin with HTML. Okay. Let me know if I get anything wrong here. Live coding always makes me very nervous. All right, so HTML tags are there, and they're matching. And then we want to put in body tags, right? We could have head tags to begin with, but for this example, we'll just keep it simple and only keep the bodies. And in between the body, I'm gonna put in H tags. That is going to say Coke versus Pepsi. And right below that, I'm going to paste in that long code that I got. And there it is. I can run it right on the screen and see it. And let's see if that works. Yes, if I click on that start button, it's gonna work. But this is such a small screen. I'm gonna pull out to a larger screen by clicking on that corner icon and see if this works, please. All right. I definitely need to upgrade. Oh, there we go. Oh, I am a Pepsi person. Oh, yes, I am. This is interesting. You can actually have people, you know, test if they're a Pepsi or a Coke person. And so here it is. Here's my Coke. And this time it's got 1, right? 1 is 100% sure. which is amazing. Works great. Let's take it to that label area. See how that works? Yes, pretty sure. And for this raw version, you'll see that, you get this number value instead of a nice graph. So this is one way of creating your website to host your own AI tool there. Another thing that you could do is from the model that you created, grab this link here. So copy that link. And then in the course, there's actually a second version of the project that you can use. So let me just click on this fancy teachable machine. So this is a fancy graph version. And it's got that Pepsi versus Coke at the top and the title tags, right? You recognize what these are, right? They're all living inside the head tags. And we've got all these, fancy JavaScript files and all that. From all this code here, if you go down to an area where it says replace the URL with your own link, you'll see that there's a script code that says let URL. Grab everything that's in between here and then replace it with that code that you copied. It should have that project, unique project number there. And then run it, and then you'll be able to see a fancy version of your project, just like that banana meter tool that you saw. So you'll get a nice bar graph AI there. Anyways, so that is that. And once you have created your website and you have created that share link, please share it with all of us here. So all you have to do is come to that forum, and you can get to the forum from clicking on this teacher, click on forum, and then start a discussion. This is basically making your own post. And then once you click on post discussion, it's going to ask you to select tags that are relevant. So do that and then make the post, or you can just click on this artificial intelligence and then make the post here.